awesome. So again, my name is Dave. We're going to take a look at the EELI platform. As Ernie mentioned, try to save your questions until the very end, because I'm pretty sure every single question that we had yesterday was going to be covered at some point in the presentation. So we'll make sure we set some time ahead at the end to kind of go over that. We were right on the money yesterday, 90 minutes and 91 minutes for our 2 sessions. So should be right on that mark again today. So right now what we're looking at is this is the profile wall. Once you've logged into your EELI platform, this is what you're going to be greeted with. This is your main dashboard of the system. If you're looking at my screen and you're thinking that it looks different than yours, that's because this is the way I've set mine up. All of these different boxes across the screen are customizable widgets that we can go ahead, reorganize, move, put them in a different order as we see fit. To go ahead and change which widgets you want to have displayed on your profile wall, all you have to do is click on the gear icon on any one of the widgets. That's that dark circle in the top left corner with the gear. You'll click that. It's going to open up your widget manager. Here's where we can go ahead, select all of the different widgets that are available in the system right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to close this out. So if we didn't want one of these, we could uncheck them. If we want to make sure they display, we'll keep them checked. If we ever want to go ahead and reorder them, we've got this double arrow crosshair on the right-hand corner of each widget. All you have to do is simply drag and drop those around, and we'll be able to move those, put those in an order that we like best. To the right of that is this little upside down triangle. We click that. That's going to go ahead and minimize that widget so we can still keep it on our wall, but we can hide it if we're not going to always use it. Let's go through now and just take a look at all the different widgets available on the profile wall. On the left-hand column, I have my listings and company listings. My listings is just that. These are going to be all of the listings that you've entered into the system that you represent. We have of all the different statuses. Active listings is going to be your sale listings as well as your rentals. We also have our pending, sold, expiring soon, and recently expired. Yours may look slightly different at the bottom. Right now I have hidden in draft, approval, queue, and locked listings. You might just see hidden in draft. Hidden in draft are going to be your listings that are not fully live in the system. And we'll go through the difference and the process of hidden listings, the approval queue, and locked listings once we go through and start creating a listing. Company listings is going to be all of the listings as represented by Corcoran, all of your active listings, your sold, your sale listings, your rental listings. All of those can be found here under the company listings widget. Moving to the center column, our quick search is going to allow us to search listings. Not only is this going to allow us to search the Corcoran listings, this is going to be giving us the ability to search from all of the different firms currently using the EELI platform. Below that are messages and a mortgage calculator. Messages are going to be messages that you receive from within the EELI platform, whether it's another agent or broker messaging you regarding one of your properties, or if you send a listing over to a client and they respond to that listing and send you a message through that property, you'll receive that there. Lastly is a mortgage calculator, or if we need to crunch some quick numbers, we can do that here. I'm going to go ahead and hide that. So all I have to do is go ahead and click on that triangle. That's going to go ahead and minimize it for me. On our right-hand column, I have my saved searches, my saved carts, CMAs, and company docs. Saved searches are going to be searches that we've created. We've put in our search criteria. They're the ones that we're going to pull up on a routine basis. We're going to go ahead and save those to that widget. I've got 2 here that are marked with little yellow sticky notes, post-it notes, if you wish. Those are signifying that I've bookmarked them as to be at the top of the list, because as you continue to use the system, you're going to start having dozens, 50, 100 saved listings. But if there's ones that you want to be able to quickly pull up and have at the top of your list every single time, we can mark those as sticky searches, and they'll stay at the top of the list forever until you turn that sticky feature off. And I'll show you how we're going to do that in a little bit as well. Saved carts is going to be similar to a bucket system that you've used before. What we do is we have 2 different cart systems. We have our working cart, which is on the left-hand sidebar menu. Then we have saved carts. The reason that we have these 2 different kind of cart systems is this way, once you start working with a specific customer, you put your listings into that cart, then you're going to want to go ahead and save that cart for that customer. If not, you're going to find out that you keep putting listings back into the same cart, then you end up having 50 listings in a cart. You don't know who those listings are for, what those listings are for. So it's ideal to go ahead and create specific carts for your customers, for your clients, so that way you can put those listings that you're working on into their specific cart. And we'll go over that as well. Once you've created a cart, you can also save that cart and turn it into a CMA. That's what's going to appear in my CMAs widget. So these are all the comparative market analyses that I've created for my customers, for my clients. And below that are company docs. These are documents that would be uploaded by your office for you to be able to retrieve and pull up at any time. Right now, where they've put in just these two different forms here, we can just go ahead, click on one. That's going to open it up for us so we can either pull it up on our phone, send it to a printer if we're out somewhere, get an electronic signature, whatever we need to do with those, we can pull up those documents at any time. And again, if there's any that we don't need, we can go ahead, click on the widget icon, click off company resources, and that company docs widget will disappear. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have our sidebar menu. Here's where we're going to be able to access some of the most commonly used features of the system. Again, we have our cart. This is our working cart. My listings. So I'm going to be able to view all of my listings that I have in the system. I'm going to be able to create a new listing, search the listings that are in East End LI, view my contacts, edit my account, and our newest page is our training guides. This is where you're going to be able to go through, watch basic training videos, pull up one-page training sheets, so you can just learn a little bit more about the system. And those are available from that training guides page. At the top toolbar, we've got a bunch of different options as well to navigate the site. What we've done is we've given you multiple options to get to the same outcome for ease of use, depending on how you use the system. We try to make it as easy as possible to use. Our first option here is our profile wall. That's going to take us right back to what we're looking at now. Our account dropdown is going to allow us to edit our account, change our password. We can view our messages. Here we're going to be able to see what's we've received through the system, as well as what we've sent. We can also view our calendar. So these are showings that we have scheduled or open houses. We can also view those training guides as well. Our admin tab is going to be only for office admins and administrators and brokers. So you may not have this on your account. So we're going to ignore this for today. What you will have are the rest of the tabs as we go through. Next is listings. Again, we're going to be able to add a listing, view our listings of all the different statuses, view the company listings, our current cart, our saved cart, and lastly, our hot sheets. This is going to be an important feature that you make sure you know where this is. Hot sheets are going to be your day book, your day sheet. This is going to show us the newest listings, the ones with price changes, recently sold, now under contract, or recently expired. So those are your hot sheets. That's going to be found under listings. When we pull up any one of these, by default, it's going to give us the most recent listings from today and yesterday, so the past 24, 48 hours. But once we've done that, what we can do is we can actually manipulate that as well. So by default, it's going to give us all the newest listings for all of the East End. What we can do after that is we can filter down by specific area. If we're just searching for the latest listings for a specific area, we can do that. Or if, say, we were out of the office, we were on vacation all of last week, we can modify that date range from just today and yesterday to the past week and a half. And I'll show you how we can do all that once we get into searching. Which brings us to our next tab, which is our search dropdown. Here we can search listings, as well as view our saved searches and search the public tax records as they're supplied from Suffolk County. What's great about the tax records is that's going to allow us to easily save some time when we're creating a brand new listing, or if we're creating a CMA, we're looking up our subject property that may have not been in East End LI before. We can search those tax records, and that'll bring in some of the information for that property for us. Lastly is our contacts dropdown. Here we're going to be able to add new contacts for our account. Everyone on your account has your own individual database of contacts That's not going to be seen by other members of East End LI. It's not seen by anyone else from Corcoran. This is your private Rolodex. If you've got your own Excel spreadsheet or your own database of contacts in your Outlook or in a different email service, if you have the ability to export those contacts into a spreadsheet or a text file, we do allow you to go ahead and import them into the system. So that way all of your contacts can be brought into your East End LI account. Also from this dropdown, we're also going to be able to view our CMAs. So these are going to be CMAs that we've gone ahead and created for our clients. And we'll go through making one of these a little bit later. Last thing I just want to bring to your attention is this light blue bar that's across the screen. Every time we go to a different page, that bar is still there. What that bar is that is a running history of all the different pages and listings that you've looked at. And that goes through all of your different sessions. So that counts back about 30 to 40 different properties. So if you're doing a search late last night, you get into the office today and be like, I don't remember the address of that house. We can go check our history list and say, oh, this was the one. I remember this now. We can go ahead and we'll be able to pull up that listing. And the way that works is, again, it counts back about 30, 40 properties. Once it hits that max, when you start looking at a new property, the oldest one will drop off that list, making room for the new one. So that's our profile wall, navigating all of the different menus on the side and top of the screen. Now, what I want to do now is kind of just go through the entire process from our first meeting with a customer or client all the way to selling their home. So the first thing that I want to do is say I get a brand new client, I get a customer. First thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and add them to my contacts list in my account. To do that, I can go to the contacts drop down at the top and click add new contact. I could also click contacts on the left-hand sidebar menu and click new contact here. When you first open up a brand new contact, it's going to give you this dialog box asking for some basic criteria regarding your customer. What I urge you to do is make sure you're at least doing the name and email. Phone number would be great as well. But when it comes to using the system, the name and email are going to be the most important features because you're going to be emailing your customer through the system. So you want that to already be attached to their account so you can easily send things out to them. So we're just going to send our customer Bill. So I've met Bill. He's now my customer. I've created a contact card for him. After we've done that, it creates that card. And here we can go ahead, add additional information if we want. If we want to put information about his family, we can do that here. Any preferences that he may have regarding number of bedrooms, baths, price range, we can edit those as well. Then below, we have our notes section, as well as messages, saved searches, CMAs, and saved carts. So again, we saw these 4 widgets on our profile wall, but what we can do is as we create a CMA or we create a saved search, we can assign it to a particular contact in our system. So we can easily retrieve that search or that CMA or even that cart right from their profile within our contacts. Above that is our notes section. Here's where we're going to go ahead and just essentially keep a running log of all of our correspondences with our customer, with our contact. And what this is going to be is this is going to be timestamped from when you enter it in. Today, we just put this in today, so it's just timestamped with the time. If we were to go back and look at this tomorrow, it's going to be timestamped with the date. So we can then just go through, keep adding notes as we do different things with them, whether we do our first tour of open houses, we do a walkthrough of their houses, we get ready to sell it. All those things, we can just have a running log just for your sake of mind and just your peace of mind, knowing what you've done with them over the course of your relationship as a customer. So now we've created our contact card for Bill. Let's go ahead. We're going to start doing a search for him. So we've got 2 different ways on how we can search for properties. We have our quick search, which is at the center of my profile wall. As you can see here, just basic search criteria. We're going to search by an ID if we know it. We can search by the owner's name. We can search by the address and a price range. Not much to search by there because what this is doing is this is a quick search. This is just going to quickly get us to our search results. So if we want, we can then further narrow down our search criteria from there. We also have our advanced search, which we can get from the search dropdown under search listings, or we can click search on the left-hand sidebar menu. From here, we're going to see this is where we have a lot more search criteria to work with. So what we're going to do is we're kind of just going to go look through all the different fields that we have available to us. Here we have our for sale and for rent. So if we're looking for a property that's an actual sale listing, we can go ahead and click sale. We have our traditional rentals. We also have seasonal rental. When we click seasonal rental, here's where we have rental dates. If we want to select a specific date range there. We also have a very specific narrowed down date range. If we were looking for something for this particular date range, we can go ahead and put that in there as well. Or if we wanted to select, our traditional date ranges that we use during the rental season, we can select those there. Next, we have our property types. You can see we have all of our house, condo, co-op, multi-unit, land, as well as commercial. Our statuses. If we want to search for active listings, we just select on active. If we were doing a CMA, we wanted to see what was also recently sold, we can select sold and put in our date range. And that's going to allow us to also go ahead and search by a specific date range as well. But we're just going to look for active, so we're just going to uncheck that. We have our price range. So instead of using a bunch of zeros, we can just go ahead and use M's for million, K for thousand. We have our bedrooms and baths. We can do a range if we'd like, so we can do 4 to 6, or if we get rid of 6, it's just going to be 4+. Same goes for the number of bathrooms. Next, we have our location. This is a great feature. If we go ahead and open this up by clicking select, here's where we can see we can search an entire section. So if we want to search all of Southampton, we can just check that off. That's going to give us everything. Or if we want to just search specific areas, we can just check off those specific areas as well. We'll do all of Southampton. We can also search by lot size, the owner's name. If we have the tax ID number, we want to search by specific ID number, we can do that there as well. We also have listing types and specific features. Then below all that, we have additional criteria. This is an important feature because this is where you're going to even be able to further narrow down your search results based on specific criteria. So while we have a checkbox for pool, this is going to show us all properties that are just checked off with pool. But if we're looking for a specific type of pool, we can select pool under additional criteria. And here's where we're going to be able to check off the specific pool types that are available in the East End LI platform. Other great things to search here in additional criteria is we have house size. This is going to be our square footage. So if we want to filter out by square footage, we're going to be able to do that here. We can also search by open house. So if we want to see which properties matching our search criteria have an open house coming up, we can go ahead and use that open house section in additional criteria. We have date ranges. So if we want, we can see what's available today and tomorrow, all the way up for the next week, or we can do a custom date range and see who's really on top of things and has scheduled an open house sometime in December. We also have our hot sheets. So again, before, hot sheets are going to show you the newest listings. By default, when we do a hot sheet, it's going to give us everything that was yesterday and today. But just like open house, we can see everything that's been added to the system, whether the past 2 days, 3 days, all the way up into the last week. Or we can do a date range. Like I said, we were on vacation last week, so we want to see everything that was added between October 20th and October 30th. We could do that here as well. Right now, we're just going to do our general search. Again, we're looking for houses, a house that's for sale in Southampton between 3 and 4.5 million with at least 4 bedrooms and at least 4 baths. So go ahead and click search. That's going to go ahead and pull up my search results. What we're looking at right now is our thumbnail view for our search results. As you can see, this gives me nice large photos of all of the different properties matching my search criteria. What's great about the system is we give you 5 different search views when it comes to searching for your properties. So if we click tools at the top of the center of the screen, in the middle we have views here and all the different views available for you. Right now we're looking at the thumbnail view. The next view is going to be list view. So what's great about East End LI is there's no need for any special app to be downloaded from the App Store to be installed on your phone. The system works automatically on your tablets, on your phones without any additional install. So if you go ahead and you pull up East End LI on your phone, it's automatically going to recognize that you're browsing on a smartphone or a tablet, and it's going to transform itself to work correctly on your device. So this view is designed specifically for the smartphone users, the tablet users. And what it's doing is it's taking that thumbnail view, and instead of having multiple columns, it's just one long column, so you'll be able to swipe through with your thumb or finger and just view all of those different properties. Next is my personal favorite view. This is list with preview. What this is going to do is this is going to give us the list of all the properties on the right-hand side of the screen with that full agent listing right in the center of the screen. So as I go through and I click on each individual property, it's going to go ahead and refresh that center of the screen and give me that full agent listing. Next is our map view. What this does is this gives me, again, that list on the right-hand side of the screen. However, each time I hover my mouse over each listing, it's going to highlight the corresponding pin as to where that property is located. So now we can see exactly where that property is. One thing that we can also do with the map is we can also draw on it. If we want to really filter out our search results, we can go ahead and do that. The center of the map, we can see we've got a couple different icons here. If we want, we can go ahead and do a radius tool. We click on that circle with the arrows pointing outwards for radius. What we can do is we can go ahead and place an X anywhere on this map. So let's say we're doing a CMA for a property we're getting ready to list. We know that's located right here. We're going to put X there. Then we want to see what's currently available in that within, let's say, a 1.5 mile radius. That's now going to go ahead and filter out and show me everything matching my search criteria within that circle. We go ahead, click that X. We're going to remove that circle. We can also just do a freehand circle any way we want. Just click and drag. And we can then go ahead and move that circle around. And every time we move it, it's then going to refresh that map and show me the listings matching my criteria in that circle. Our last option is a freehand tool, or we can just go ahead, draw any shape we want. My customer thinks he's the king, so we're going to let him live in his little crown. And that's going to show me all the listings in this ridiculous shape that we just drew. Just like the circle, we can go ahead, move that shape around, and it's going to show me the listings matching that search criteria. If we want, we can get rid of it, go back to our search, reset our search, and we're going to see our search results matching that original search criteria. Our last search view is great for those that like to see a whole lot of data all at once. That is our spreadsheet view. Here's where we're going to be able to see a whole lot of information all in one spot. What's great about the spreadsheet is this is also going to be fully customizable based on your preferences as to what you want to see on your spreadsheet. To do that, we can click on Tools and click Add and Remove Columns. From here, we can see a whole bunch of different options, criteria that we can add to our spreadsheet. If we want to remove something, we can also remove that as well. We know that we're searching for active listings, so maybe we don't want to see status. We can remove that. Property type, we don't really care about right now either. So we're going to just save it as that. We'll update our fields. Now I've got all the fields that I like on my spreadsheet. Once I've done that, I can then go ahead and reorder these columns into the order that I like best. Not too worried about the ID, so I can move that over here. But I want my photo, my price, followed by beds and baths. So I'm going to put that in that order there. Any column that has a arrow going up and down, that means this is a sortable field. So if we want to sort by the number of bedrooms and bathroom, or excuse me, by the number of bedrooms, we can click on beds. That's going to allow us to sort by lowest to highest, highest to lowest. You can do the same thing with list price to see what's the newest, which one's the oldest, so on and so forth. Once we've gone ahead and we've created the spreadsheet view that we like best, we've put it in the order that we like, we can go ahead, click on Tools, and click Make Default Spreadsheet. So that way, every time I pull up the spreadsheet view, this is going to be the order. The spreadsheet's going to be in this order that I like. It's going to be the photos and the price, bathrooms, bedrooms, so on and so forth. If I want to change it up, maybe I want to make sure that I'm going to sort by acreage, lot size. I can go ahead and do that, go back to Tools, and click Make Default Spreadsheet. So now each time I look at the spreadsheet, this is going to be the order. So not only do we give you full control over the spreadsheet, we also allow you to set your default search view. So maybe you're like me and you want to do list with preview every time you do your search results. We can open this up, click on Tools, and click Make Default Search View. So by doing that, every time you do your search, by default, your results are going to be pulled up in this, the list with preview view. Or if you want to do thumbnails, we'll go back to thumbnails and do Make Default Search View. So this is the search that we want to do for Bill. So we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save this search for him, attach it to his account, and then we're also going to make sure he gets email alerts every time a new listing comes up. So to do that, we're going to click on Tools. We're going to click on Save Search. And this is now going to allow us to go ahead and save this specific search, all the criteria that we've put in. And now we can go ahead and assign it to a client or a contact. So we're going to name this Homes for Billy. We're going to save it. Next, we're going to assign it to his contact card. So to do that, we click on Assign next to Contact. We're just going to start typing in his name. Again, we already created that contact card for him. So we just start typing in his name. Automatically, he populates through that smart lookup, and we're going to assign it. If maybe we haven't put someone into our contacts list yet, if we wanted, we could go ahead and put their information down below, and that would assign it to them as well. And then also create that contact card for them. So now that we've assigned this saved search to Bill, we can pull it up from his contact card. We'll also be able to go ahead and see this saved search from our profile wall. Next thing we're going to want to do is create a drip email campaign. What this is this is going to be that thing that sends out automatic emails every time there is a new listing or a listing with a price change matching this search criteria. So to set all that up, we flip the switch to on, and then we set our triggers. If we just want to see when there's new listings, we just select new listings. We want to see also the ones that do a price change. So maybe something drops in price and now fits into Billy's budget, we're going to want to include that as well. If maybe we don't want the emails to automatically go to him first, we want to vet them first. We just won't put any email addresses here. But if we want him to also receive them, well, again, we'll just start typing in his name. That'll automatically appear there. We'll click it, and now Bill will also start receiving those emails. If we wanted to edit the subject, can do that. And now once we save this, new listings will be emailed to Billy every time they match his search criteria. We're going to turn that off now because I don't want to send anyone actual emails. But before, when we were looking at the profile wall, we saw our saved searches. I mentioned that we can have sticky saved searches. And right here, we can see sticky. Let's just go back to our profile wall real quick. Right now, we can see we have searching for Diane and searching for Bruce. Those are currently sticky listings in place number 1 and place number 2. But if we're going to do this homes for Billy, if we want, we can put it anywhere in the list that we want. But we're going to save it back to number 1 spot. We're going to save it. And now as we refresh the list, homes for Billy now goes back to the top. So now we can pull up those searches at any time. In addition, because we assign this to his contact card, if we were to view my contacts, view his contact card, we're also going to see that saved search is here as well. So if Bill gives us a call and says, hey, what are the latest properties? You know, what's new? I haven't heard from you in a couple days. We can go ahead, pull up that saved search, click on load, and that's going to go ahead and pull up the latest searches. But again, this is showing us everything. So what maybe we want to do is go down to filters. We'll do our list date. We could also do hot sheet and see what's been added in those past 10 days. We say, well, there's a new one that just came up the other day. Let me email it to you. And we'll go over emailing listings in a little bit. So let's go ahead. Also from our profile wall, let's just fire up that saved search that we did. We're just going to click on run. And that's going to fire up that search result for that search criteria. So again, saving you a lot of time. You're not having to put in all of your search criteria again over and over. We have it right there on our profile wall just to quickly fire off. So I'm going to do first is I'm just going to go ahead and clear out my cart. To do that, I just click on it and click remove all listings, and that's going to wipe it out. So remember, we have two different cart systems. We have our current cart. This is essentially your working cart that you're using at that very moment. Then you have your saved carts that you assign to your specific clients or customers. You may have noticed on all of the different search views, at the top left corner of all of the different thumbnail photos has been that little shopping cart icon with a plus. We go ahead and we click any of those. It's going to do exactly what you think it's going to do, and it's going to put that listing into my cart. That blue plus icon has now become a green check, letting me know that that listing is now in my cart. If I were to click it again, that green check becomes that blue plus, letting me know it's not in the cart. So let's go ahead. We're just going to add a couple listings. As I said, you can just click on that icon that's going to add it to your cart. If we were looking at the spreadsheet view, we don't have that shopping cart icon. Instead, we're going to have little check boxes noting that that's in your cart. We're going to add this one as well, and this one. If we're looking at a property, we've opened one up. We have an add to button at the top of every single listing. If we click that, here's where we're also going to be able to add it to our current cart, or we can add it to a previously saved cart or a CMA. So we're going to add this to our current cart. I think this one's already in my cart, so that's not going to help me. So let me go to a different one that's not in the cart. Add to current cart. So now that's down at the bottom. So we've done our latest search for Bill. We've got our 6 listings that we want to share with them. To do that, we're going to click on menu of our cart. And like I said, you've got your current cart and then you've got saved carts. If you're going to go ahead and email a group of listings from your cart to a customer, go ahead and save that cart. If we're doing these listings for another customer, we could easily go ahead and attach them to another cart that we've previously saved, or we're going to go ahead and create a new one. After we've saved that cart, we can go ahead and open it up. We're going to view it. And here's where we can do a few different things. So we're going to get ready and we're going to email this off to Bill. First thing we may want to do is maybe we just don't like the order that these listings are in. If we want, we can go ahead, drag and drop the properties into the order we like best. Maybe in the order that we think he's going to like them most. We're also going to go ahead and assign this to Bill as well. So again, we start typing in his email, we start typing in, or excuse me, start typing his first or last name. Smart Lookup's going to find him. We're going to now assign this to him. Once we've saved it, we're now going to be able to go ahead and add notes to these particular properties as well if we want. Whatever we want to do, we're going to save those changes. And after we've saved these changes, we want to maybe email these listings to our customer. To do that, we're going to click Menu and Email Listings. Here we've now added all 6 listings to an email that we can then send off to our customer. Because this cart was already assigned to Billy Joel, his email is already here under emails. If we wanted to assign this or send this to other people as well, we can just start typing in their email. If they're already a contact, they'll automatically appear. So if we're going to also email this to Diane Keaton, we can do that. Or if it's just someone else that we don't have in our system, we can just start typing in an email. Currently, the system is set up that every email that you put in here is a blind carbon copy. We will be moving forward where it defaults to carbon copy. But right now, to make sure that all of these people are on the same email thread, you're going to want to click carbon copy. So again, to review, when you click carbon copy, all of the emails that you send here, everyone's going to get the same email. So I'm going to know. So, well, I should say, I'll be on it. Billy Joel's also going to be on it. Diane Keaton's also going to be on it. And then Demi Moore is also going to get the email as well. So everyone's going to get the same email. They're all going to know that they received the email from one another because they're all going to be on the same email thread. If we were to uncheck this, they're all going to receive their own individual email. They're not going to know. Reasons you would do this, you're doing the same search for 2 different customers. You're going to want to send them the same listings. You can do it that way. Or you're sending it to a husband and wife. You're going to want them to also be on the same email chain together. So you would do it that way. We want to include a map of where the properties are. We check off Include Map. So what that's going to do is at the bottom of the list of all of the properties, it's going to show on the map where all of these listings are. For those that can't see, each one of these green pins is numbered 1 through 6, showing us exactly where these properties are located. We have our agent full layout. If you're sending this to a colleague or another agent or broker, maybe you want to include the full agent layout. But if you're sending this to your customer, you're not going to want to do that, so we'll leave that unchecked. When they receive the email, it will have the actual address for the property. If we want to hide that, we can check that off, and that'll hide the address. Our notes that we put in for each individual listing on our cart also carried into the email. But if we want to include the original marketing text as it was entered in by the original listing agent, we can do that. And that'll appear below your notes. Before we send this off, maybe we want to change the subject. Edit our body. And then we can go ahead and modify these photos of each individual listing. By default, it's going to give us the first photo of each listing. What we can do is with these little arrows, is we can go through and modify the picture that's going to appear in the email. So that way we're kind of showing the best photo for our customer, for our client when they open up that email. So all these are pretty good. Awesome. We're going to switch to that one. So once we've done that, we're going to be able to go ahead, click send. And once they go ahead and open up that email, that's going to be branded with your information. So they're going to see those listings. They're going to be able to open it up. It'll have presented by, it's going to be your picture, your name, your information here. And if they were to click on request more information, and they fill this out, this is going to go directly to your East End account. It'll appear on your messages widget on your profile. And again, you'll also receive an email in your inbox as well. So you're going to get your messages in both locations, making sure that you receive that message. So let's go back to that cart. So we saw how we can email the cart, we can save the cart, but we can also convert a cart into a CMA. So let's first get rid of some of these. So let's say we're not buying a house for Billy Joel. Right now we're actually getting ready to sell his home. We're looking for comps for his home. So we can just run this search, say these are comps for him. Right now, my search is only set for active listings. If I wanted to see solds at the same time, I could select sold. We're just going to uncheck active and only see the sold listings for the past 3 months. So here's some sold listings. We can go ahead, add them to my cart. Now I can go ahead, take this cart, and I can save it to a CMA. Again, if we've already done a CMA before, we could assign these to a previously created CMA, or we're going to go ahead and create a new one. We're going to save it, and that's going to go ahead and open up our CMA wizard. From here, we can go ahead, make adjustments to each individual property. If we want to reorder them, we simply click and drag by grabbing the photo and moving it over. So let's see, we're going to put all of our sold listings on the right-hand side, all of our active listings to the left. And right now we didn't put in any subject property. So again, we could import that from the tax records if we wanted to do that. Or let's say one of these properties is our subject property. What we can do is click on actions from the drop-down, click on make subject. That's going to go ahead, move it over, and make that listing our subject property. We can now go through, make our adjustments or reconciliations, put any notes that we'd like regarding the changes that we've made, why we think the house should be priced the way we've priced it. Things like that would be added here. Once we've done that, we'll save it. We're then going to be able to view that CMA report. That's going to have our subject property. Our notes would be on here, as well as all of our adjustments, which then we can then go up to the top. If we want to print it, we can send this right to the printer. We can hand them a paper copy. We can save it as a PDF. That's going to allow us to download it right to our desktop. So we can then email it, keep it in our records, or we can email this PDF. Again, start typing in the customer, the client's name, email address. We can add a note and send that off to them as well. Any questions regarding searching? I know I want to wait to the end, but I'll take questions for searching now. I'm a little ahead of schedule. Yeah.
For hot sheets, is there any way that you can get to everything that's on there? Like I want to just see new listings, sold, price reductions, all on at once.
So the best way to do that is you're just going to go ahead, do your search. And then what you would do is you would select what's been marked. You would select active, pending. You would select all of these.
Oh, it does allow you to do it. So I didn't think it did.
Yep. And then you would select your date range.
You could make that default.
What's that?
You could make that a default.
You wouldn't make it a default, but you could make it a saved search. So if you wanted to see everything that's changed, you could just save it as a search and then do it that way.
Show us how to do that.
So that would just be the same way that we saved another search after we've conducted a search. This is going to give me a lot of results, PS, so hold on. We would click Tools and we would do Save Search. We would save it, and again, if we wanted to add it to our widget, keep it up there so we can easily see. It would then be under our saved widgets. Yes?
When you were doing the search and you were looking at the areas, it looks like this system has areas broken out in more detail and more areas.
Yep.
So we're putting in a new listing, it's easy, you can just indicate it. The previous listings that are already in the system may not have that yet, right? Will that automatically be converted, or how does that work?
So that's really going to come down to, I know when the system was put in, I know Ernie wanted everyone to kind of go through your current listings to make sure they're, you know, in line with the way the new system works. So of course, while we're in this sort of transitional period, there may be some listings that you'll probably have to search the entire area for it to work. But I think moving forward, as you put in more listings, people are going to adhere to the new format of adding those listings.
You guys really need to confirm that we're as detailed as the system is now with the area.
Correct.
But there's no guarantee that other agents.
Exactly. And it's all going to, exactly. It's all going to matter as to how people were putting it in as well. Correct. No, not here. The guy's down the street.
Can you view emails that you've sent already? Like
Yes. Yep. So from your account dropdown, you will have your messages. I've got nothing in here because I've never sent anything and I haven't received anything. But by default, it's going to show you your inbox. But if you click sent, that's going to show you your sent listings.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Check out all these ones that I did not know I sent. Cool.
When you send emails, what is that line that says, you know, copy of this has been sent to something at New York?
That's just a random email that's associated with my account. By default, that's going to be your email. So that's a great question. We didn't touch on that. Anytime you send a message or an email through the system, you automatically will receive a carbon copy to your email, your actual email. That's just in there because that's my email.
So you are.
Yes, that's me. All right. We're going to move forward with creating a listing now. So to do that, we can click on Add New Listing from the left-hand sidebar menu, or select Listings from the drop-down and click Add New Listing. When it comes to creating a listing, we give you 3 different options on how to do that. We have our blank listing. That's going to give you a completely blank slate. You'll be responsible for putting in all the different details. We have our search the public records. Like I said before, we're going to be able to search those Suffolk County records. That's going to help populate some of the details for us for the listing. Or we can clone a company listing. These are going to be listings that are already in the East End LI platform from your firm. So maybe we've got a house that was listed back in January. Summer season came. They said, you know, we're just going to do our regular rental season instead. So let's take it off the market. It's now fall. They give you a call back and say, let's put that house back on the market. Instead of starting right from scratch, we can pull up that previous listing that we did in January, make a carbon copy of it, and then go ahead and modify the listing from there. Anything, when we do a clone company listing, we're still going to be able to modify everything. Nothing is completely frozen in time. So we're going to be able to adjust the price. We're going to be able to modify our property description. We're going to be able to change everything. It's just saving us time by having everything already in there. Clone company listing is also great if you've got a sale listing that you're also going to turn into a rental, or a rental listing that you're also going to put up for sale. So what I would suggest is you do one of those listings. You do the sale listing first, put in everything. Then we go back to that sale listing, we'll clone it, and then turn it into the rental listing. So kind of just show you how clone company listing works. We're going to click on that. This is going to pull up all of the Corcoran listings, past and present. So all 130,000 of them. We can just We can filter it out. So if we wanted to search by specific branch, we can do that. We can also search by last name. Once we've found the property that we want to clone, we'll click on the ID, open it up, and we'll see a clone button at the top of the listing. From here, we're going to be able to clone with or without photos. Make sure you're adhering to company policy or the policy of the photographer, the agent. Make sure you're not taking photos that were taken for another agent by another photographer that you're not supposed to be using. So make sure you're using photos with the proper consent. If not, you're not cloning without the photos. You'll do that. That'll just go ahead and make an exact carbon copy of this listing. We'll then be able to go through and modify it as we need to. What we're going to do today is we're going to search the public tax records to go ahead and create a listing from that. What's great about searching the tax records is this is going to bring over some of the information for us and plug that in automatically. By default, Suffolk County is already selected for us. When we're searching the tax records, you need to enter in the town. Then you can either do by address or owner's last name. I'm just going to do a quick last name search. That's going to go ahead and pull up my tax records, matching my search criteria. I look for the property that I want to list. This one, I'm listing Sharon's house. We take a look. If this looks correct, we can go ahead. We can click import this record. We're also going to see add to CMA. So again, as I mentioned before, if we wanted to, this was our subject property, we could go ahead, add it to our CMA that we've created. Here's that one that we did. Then we can just go ahead, make it the subject, and that's going to bring all of that subject property information over for us. What we're going to do today is we're going to make a listing. So to do that, we're going to click import this record. From here, this gives us a couple different options that we can do. If we want to go ahead, maybe we're adding a couple listings today. We're going to search the tax records again, find those other properties that we're going to list, or we can get right into the listing wizard and start working on this listing. So we're going to do that. We'll click on listing wizard. And now this is going to bring us to the actual listing creation process. What's great about this system is instead of being one long listing sheet, we break it down into about 8 different steps. Every time that you click next step, your listing's being saved, so you don't have to worry about losing any of the information that you've lost. So you realize that you have to be somewhere a minute ago at 11 o'clock. We can just quickly shoot out the door. We don't have to worry about losing the information that we've done so far because it's going to be saved. Also really cool about the listing wizard is depending on what you're listing, the wizard's going to go ahead and transform itself. So right now we're going to list a house. So it's going to ask for things like bedrooms and bathrooms. If we were going to do a multi-unit, instead of asking for just bedrooms and baths for just a house, it's going to want us to give the details for each individual unit within that building, square footage, what's included with it, things like that. Like I said, we're just going to do a house. We're going to do for sale. If we were to do a seasonal rental, what this will do is the listing wizard will add a page later in the wizard, giving us the ability to select our date ranges as well as the specific rental rates for those different periods in the wizard. We're just going to go ahead, pop in a price, and keep moving forward. Anything that is in a red heading field, like all of these here, these are required fields. So in order for you to move forward to the next step, you need to make sure that every single one of these red fields are required. Your office, your company has requested certain fields remain required when you enter your listing. So make sure that you check off and make sure everything is fully complete. Again, if you try to move forward without filling out a required field, you're not going to be able to do so. It's going to keep you right on the page. And there's going to be a message at the top of the screen saying, you forgot to fill out this field. So it didn't fill out Hamlet or area for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and put those in there. South of the highway, yes or no? Oh, thank you. We're just going to go ahead and click next step. So again, every time that we click next step, the listing is going to be saved, so we don't have to worry about losing all the work that we've done. This next step here is going to be our map. This is going to allow us to take this A pin and move it where we need to on the map. If we need to move it here, we can. Move it here. If we want, we can zoom in, see if we can find that property. It's right there. We can match it up. If we want to pull up the satellite, make sure we really got it right on the money. There we go. That looks good. We'll click next step. Continuing on, we have our listing type. We have our various listing contract types. When you select exclusive, you have the ability to go ahead and select whether or not you're going to keep this a company private listing. So this is a brand new listing. Maybe we're going to keep it in-house for the first 2 weeks, share it with our own clients, maybe share it in-house, see if we can keep the sale in-house. We can do that. So we would select yes. After those 2 weeks are up, we're ready to share it with all the other firms also in East End LI. We'll come back into the listing and select no. If we're to go ahead and put in an open listing, by default, that is going to remain company private. That is not going to be shared with anyone else using East End LI. So we're going to go ahead, do a regular exclusive listing, putting our listing date, our expiration date. Below that, we have our listing visibility. We already went over company private. If we want other firms to see it, yes or no. We're also going to give you the ability to go ahead and send it to the Corcoran website as that becomes available. And of course, the brand new Hamptons RE website. Currently, it just says HREA portal. That will most likely be updated in the future. Just say Hamptons RE. As we continue going through, showing instructions is a required field for Corcoran agents, so make sure you fill this out. Keys inside the fake turtle. We're going to put that in there. We can also include any other showing instructions if we want. Total commission is also a required field. This field, however, remains private and in-house. This is not seen by other members of East End LI. This remains in-house for Corcoran only. What will be seen by other members of East End LI are the commission splits, which are listed below. We give you 4 different options. At least one of these needs to be filled out in order for you to move forward with the listing. If you have any questions about these, just check with your manager, your broker, as to which one you should be using. Continuing down, the owner information is required. Thanks to those tax records, we can see Sharon Goldberg's name is there. If this is incorrect, we need to change it. We can do that. Maybe it's under a LLC now. We can change that, put that in there. Any other information that we put in regarding the owner's information, their contact information, their mailing address, that is not shared within East End LI. That remains private in-house to your office. Thanks to those public records again, we can see that number of bedrooms and baths was carried over, as well as the year built. This is a compound. That sounds cool. We also have renovation year and renovation comments. Renovation year is a searchable feature. So if you're ever doing a search for one of your customers, they want to see something that's been recently renovated, you'll be able to find renovation year under the additional criteria section of the search. So we can go ahead, everything else is required here. After we've filled all that out, we can go ahead and click next step. Here's now we're going to go ahead and focus on the inside of the house. This is where we're going to label off all the rooms that are inside, our kitchen type, our kitchen counter types, our heating and cooling, as well as a few other things. So we're going to go ahead and select our counters type, our appliances, our flooring. One thing to note is heat type is a required field, so make sure you mark that off when you're going through. If we do not, you're not going to be able to move forward with the listing. Clicking our next step after we've done the inside of the house, we're now moving to the outside. Here's where we're going to be able to select our sewer and water type. Thanks to those tax records, we can see that there's municipal water with private septic. Then we're going to go to, again, our siding, our roof type. We're also going to be able to take a look at whether there's a pool, yes or no. If yes, what kind? Our exterior amenities. Any outbuildings, tennis court, is there room for a tennis court? As well as our waterfront, yes or no, and the type, and our view. Again, waterfront and views are also searchable features in that additional criteria dropdown of the search. Our next step is our community features. If this is a condo, co-op, and a gated community, we can select the features that are available to this home here. After that, we're on to the writing portion of the listing. We give you 3 different sections for writing. The first one is going to be our marketing text. This is what's going to be seen on your listing when it's viewed by other members of East End LI, also by your clients, your customers when you send the listing out. And I believe this also goes to the public portal as well. We do our headline, we do our marketing text. We'll go ahead and click next step. So again, this is our marketing text and public marketing text, which is going to be seen by everyone. Our next section is going to be private remarks. This is what's going to be seen by members of East End LI only. So maybe this is where we can reiterate that 24 hours notice is needed before showing. We're going to talk about that the large dog is downstairs in the basement. Do not open that door. You will be mauled. Great Dane, this big, swear. Put that in there. Next step, this is going to be for company only remarks. So we can say painters are coming next week, no showings available. Don't talk about the homeowner here, all right? Do not put that there. We don't talk about those. But these are going to be remarks only seen by East End, by Corcoran members only. Next is our virtual tour link and our YouTube link. When you start putting listings into the system, you may or may not have this page on your account, so don't be scared if you don't see it. The way these two work is virtual tour link is if you've got you've got a video tour or additional information on the Corcoran website, you would put that link there. If you've got a video on YouTube, you would use the YouTube link. The way these are different is the virtual tour takes you away from the East End LI platform, whereas the YouTube link remains embedded on the listing and shows up as a pop-up video right within the East End LI listing. Next is our tax and fee information. If you have it, you can put it in. Again, anything that you don't put in isn't set in stone, so you're waiting for the homeowners to get the latest tax bill. They give it to you in a week from now. We can go back in, we can edit this at any time. Next is our listing photos. We make it very easy to upload photos. We give you up to 36 spots to add your photos. You can click on Add Files, and this will open up your browser, your file browser, so you can go ahead and find the photos you want to use. What's great about this is this also works on your phone as well. So if you click Add Files, it's going to open up your camera roll on your phone or your file viewer, and you can find your photos that way. My favorite way of adding photos is just to have a folder for that particular property. I can just go ahead, highlight all of those photos, drag them in, and click Start Upload. That's going to go ahead and upload all of the photos at one time, making it very easy for me to go ahead and move forward. I can go ahead, take a drink, which I'm going to do as we wait for the photos to upload. And make sure you're using your high-res photos for the system because we do have that full screen photo viewer on each individual listing. Once my high-res photos have been uploaded, I can now go through and reorder them in the order I like. I can add captions. If for any reason when you've uploaded it, maybe you got the photo is upside down, we can click that rotate button and that'll rotate the the photo for me, so it's the correct orientation. High five. Question?
Can I crop the photos at this stage?
No, you would crop before uploading. After we've reordered them, added our captions, go ahead, click next step. Listing documents you may or may not have on your account set depending on your privileges. Here's where we're going to be able to go ahead, upload floor plans, surveys, tax maps, any type of PDF that we want to have attached to the listing. We can have that added here as well. Just like the photos, we can click add files, and that'll open up our file browser. We can find the file that we're looking for. Click open, upload it that way, or if we wanted, we can do another drag and drop. Once it's been uploaded, we can title it. Then we're also going to be able to select the type, because this is what it will be flagged as when we upload it. All right, once we've done that, the listing is pretty much good to go. It's live. Oh wait, no, it's not. Like you used before with the holding station, we have the approval queue. So when you create a brand new listing, it will need to be approved by your approval team. And to do that, you'll have this bright pink box on the top of your listing, letting you know that this listing is not live yet. It is still a hidden and draft listing. In order to make that listing live, you'll have to go ahead and send for approval. We'll go ahead, say new listing, and we'll click send for approval. I'm not going to do this because I don't want the approval team to go ahead and make this listing live. So we're going to keep that as a hidden and draft listing. Once your listing is actually live, that will go away. But then once we start making changes to a listing, that listing will become locked. So there's a couple different steps on the process of a listing. When we first create that listing, it is hidden and draft. We then send it to the approval team. They then make it live. Once a listing is live, it's then going to be seen by the other firms also in East End LI. Then once we make changes to a listing, it becomes locked. The listing is still live. It's still visible to everyone on the platform, but the changes that you've put onto the listing, maybe we've modified the price, we've changed the property description, those changes will lock the listing, and then in order to make those changes reflect, you'll then have to send it back to the approval queue to be approved by the admin team.
Does that include just changing photos?
That's going to include anything, any type of change. When it comes to editing your listing, you're going to see that we have different edit field, flags across the entire page. If we need to edit anything, say maybe we forgot to change that, they actually added a half bath. We can go ahead, change that, and that's going to reflect on there. Again, this would then lock my listing, and I'd have to send those changes back to the approval team. But since this is still a hidden and draft listing, I can make all the changes that I need. If we want, we can also click the edit button at the very top of the listing. And here we can get through all the different pages that we just went through. So if we need to edit a specific page, we can do that. If we click Run Wizard, that's going to take us through the entire process again. So this way we can just go ahead, go through, make sure everything looks right. We do have an open house section. To do that, you'll simply go ahead, select your date range, your start and end time, and you'll click Schedule Open House. And that'll appear on your listing. Also, again, this is not connected currently to the Corcoran website, so you will need to check and tell your Out East team, East End team, excuse me.
Yeah, send your open house information request like you were sending your change request to East End listings. Because if you put it in here, it's not going to go to corcoran.com or Out East. We'll put it on both for you.
Now, is that going to be always, or is that's just for now? Okay, until you fully transition. Okay, so just remember to email East End your open houses because they won't reflect on corcoran.com. But when it's available, this is how you'll add your open houses here. And again, as we saw, I've got my full screen slideshow here. So all my photos on the listing. I've scheduled that open house, so I have an open house flag on my listing. And that survey that we also uploaded is labeled here. If I click that, that's going to open that up. Oops, actually I want to take a look at this listing. So at the top of every listing, you're going to have a couple different tabs, a couple different things that you can do. When you're looking at your own listing, you're going to have overview, messages, and showings. The overview is just going to give you the option of all these different menu options. Messages are going to be the messages that you received regarding this specific listing. Maybe it's an agent that's asked to do a showing. Maybe you forward this out to someone, a customer, a client. They were emailed you through that listing. That'll appear here. And then any scheduled showings that you have scheduled as well. When we're looking at someone else's listing, we're going to have ask a question and request showing. So if we have a question regarding this property, we're going to be able to ask that question. They'll receive that listing directly in East End LI. That'll appear on their messages widget. And again, they'll also receive an email in their inbox as well. Let me find one that's active. Under the overview tab, we have a whole bunch of different options here. We have our share button. Here we have printer friendly. This is going to give us a way to essentially print up a quick show sheet, if you will, where we can just pull up some basic information about the property. It's going to be presented with your information, branded with your details at the bottom. If we want, again, just like emailing, we can select a thumbnail photo that would appear on the printout. We can send it to the printer. We can save it as a PDF so we can view it, email it, whatever we need to. Or we can click email PDF, type in our customer's name, send that off, and that'll email them this printout sheet. We also have email. So just like when we emailed that cart, same exact features here for this individual listing. If we want to include the map, we can do that. We can hide the street address, include the original marketing text. We can change that thumbnail photo. And if we're going to send it off to multiple people, we can also do the carbon copy or the BCC.
If you say hide address, does it come off the map?
Well, the map is just a photo. So when you're looking at that, that's all you're going to see. That's not an interactive, so they can't zoom in and see specifically where that address is. Next is history. This will show us listing history for this particular listing. We can see it was listed back in May and only had one price reduction earlier this month. Under maps, we have two different maps. Yep.
Who have been listed with the previous agency before, will it show that history as well?
We will be adding, there will be a related listings feature that'll come out very soon, which will show other listings with that same address. So that'll show historical listings. Okay. Under maps, we have a Google map. So this will show us using the lat and longitude as populated by that agent when they use that A pin during the listing wizard. That'll show us where this listing is located. So if we need to send it to our phone for directions, we can go ahead and do that there. We also have a copy of the paper tax map as well. So if we want this, we can go ahead and print this out. We want to save it to our computer, maybe email it to our customer. We can do that. Again, this is just a JPEG photo. It's not, you can't modify this at all. However, for those using Windows computers, I like to just show off the snipping tool where you can go ahead, highlight a section of the map. And with the highlighter, we can go through and highlight a section showing our customer where that is. So those unfamiliar, that's the snipping tool that is on all Windows machines. So you can go ahead and use that. Click the save button. That'll save it as a photo. And then we can go ahead, send that to our customer, our client in an email. Next, we have our add to. Again, we can add this to our current cart. We can add it to a saved cart, whether it's one that we've done before or a brand new one. We can also add it to a CMA, whether it's one that we're a brand new one or one that we're currently working on. And then lastly is our layout. Here's where we can just view a bunch of different layout options. If we want to just see what the client view would see, we can see that here. Another great view is our photos view. This is going to give you some basic vitals of the listing, followed by all of the photos. And at the bottom of the page, you'll see it says printer friendly. So this will allow us, again, to print this off, send it to the printer. We want to save it as a PDF or email that PDF. We can do that, start typing in our customer's name and send that off to them that way. Our last layout option is a brochure print. We are currently working with your firm to create a special branded Corcoran brochure that you'll be able to print up, and that'll be branded with your company's information. So that'll be coming in the coming weeks. Dan's actually testing it now. Dan, how's that brochure looking?
It's coming along.
He says it's coming along, which means it's really good. And that's that. And wow, we're 6 minutes early today. So I think I've covered everything. At this time, I'll just open up the floor for any questions that you guys have. Yeah.
We in the office call it EELI. You call it EELI. Which is a proper way.
East End LI. So you pronounce it how you want. Call it Shirley. I don't know.
Is there a button if you want to select all of the options?
What do you mean?
Well, instead of clicking the shopping cart on.
Yep. So if we do a search, so let's just fire up Homes for Billy. Great question. I don't really cover this all too often, but you can check all on this page and that'll select them all.
Okay.
Or we can uncheck them all, whatever you wish. Mm-hmm. Look over here. Can't see everyone over. Oh, I didn't even know you were over there. You were hiding the whole time.
I'm sneaky.
Yeah. Oh, you ladies first.
If you're sending an email or sending listings and they reply, or you get that additional inquiry, you say it goes, we get a copy in our email. Is that a notification? Or we actually get the
It's the actual thing. Correct.
And then the second question, this is very specific, but if you're putting a rental date range in, will the results be any available rental that includes those dates?
Yes. Yeah, and rentals is a whole other beast. So, you know, that's really, so when you do it, especially when you're searching available, yes, that should be available for that date that you're selecting.
It'll include every rental that's available for the whole month of August?
So, yeah, so again, it's also going to come down to what's being put in by the listing agent as well. So it's a little hairy as to how seasonal rentals work because, again, the date ranges can vary from a customer versus the dates that are available. Yep.
Once you've entered a new listing and you go back and you make some changes, so let's say you change the photographs and it has to go for approval, can you, let's say you made some changes and you realize you also need to say it doesn't have a fireplace, or can you make additional changes once you've sent it, once it's been
So you've got a couple different options. When you send it for approval, you can retract it. So pull it back and still continue making your changes. Correct.
And then,
correct. And then also same thing with a locked listing. If you need to retract, you can retract. Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify what Sue's question was. If you hide the address, you said you can't zoom in. I mean, in other words, you no longer can zoom in once it's hidden, or you can zoom in, but it's not going to give you the street number.
No, so when we're regarding emailing listings, that's just a photo of a map. So that's just a screenshot of the map. So
so the client's not going to be able to zoom.
They can't touch that map at all. Correct. They can't do anything. That's just strictly a photo of the map.
Wait, isn't there a link at the bottom of it that'll open up?
Yeah.
It's actually functional.
So I don't know if you guys want to keep it there or not. So it's
the picture or the link?
The link.
I actually think the link is valuable.
I agree. I think I like my clients to be able to zoom in, look up what's.
Yeah. So yeah, there's when you click, there is. So I'll just pull it up real fast. So if we include the map, there is the button for view map of listings. And that does pull them here, which again is.
So they might not get the street number at that point, but they're going to know that it's on.
They're going to know where it is, yeah.
So you just take the map off.
Correct. Yeah.
And speaking of maps, when you can do the radius or whatever, is there a way to save that?
So you can save that as your search. So when you, after you draw your circle or your shape, you would save your search, and that shape would be saved within the criteria. Yeah.
On your emails, what does your subject line read to?
So when you send an email, you have the ability to go ahead and modify that email. You can modify that subject. So right here at the top is subject. So you can modify that. Also, when you do drip emails as well, that you can modify the subject as well.
Are we able to search on our phone?
Yes.
This is an app or whatever.
Yep. So like I said, there's no need for any app. So what you can do is you just go right to East End LI, corcoran.eastendli.com/members. And the system will recognize that you're using a phone, and it'll modify itself. So if I do, again, I'm on a tablet, so it's going to look slightly different. What'll happen is it'll look something similar like this. Again, this is a rough estimate. So the top menu bar disappears. So instead you have this menu bar on the side, which still then gives you all the different menu options. So you're still going to be able to fully use the system. So what I would do is check with your office admin to help set a desktop or a home screen icon, so that way you can quickly load it up. Of course. Any other questions? Awesome. I feel like a rock star. I could just say like, oh, you guys are my favorite. Like every time someone goes on a tour, like Corcoran's the best firm ever. You guys are my favorite audience. Oh, now you're really my favorite customer. Good. Awesome. So if there's any other questions, no? All right. You guys are good to go. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah.
If I want to see, like, say I've emphasized a bunch of emails and I haven't put them in my contacts, like I really don't want to put this particular person's ID in.
Yep.
Is there a way to go back through and see all the emails?
Yep. So under your account dropdown is going to be your messages. You'll be able to click send, and that's going to show you all of your sent. Correct. And I've actually, before we even started, I checked with our team. We're going to try to refine this a little bit more, but you'll be able to, you can see everyone you've sent to. Yep. Good. Awesome. You guys are my favorite. Thanks.